Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ray Lutz, that's Raylutz, and I'm with Citizens Oversight. You may be able to see the banner over here. We are a nonprofit and nonpartisan organization that has been working to improve our elections process for a number of years. And this year we have seen a vast number of violations and egregious types of misconduct in the elections officials around the state of California. Earlier in this process, midstream here last month, after the election, they start counting for a whole month, and we had a lot of volunteers that were here. Some of them behind us here that have volunteered for many, many hours, coming to the registrar of voters to make sure that there was someone watching over what was going on. And that is a big help, just to have those people there watching the people inside doing what they're doing. However, midstream, we found out that this election official here, his name is Michael Vu, San Diego registrar, was in violation of the law. I asked him about it, and he continued to want to violate that. It has to do with the audit, the 1% manual tally that is mandated by state law that they're supposed to do, and that they decided that they'd only do about 60% of it, and even that part in a shoddy and difficult to monitor fashion. So in looking into that, we asked him why isn't he doing it right, and they continued to avoid us, and finally we had to file a lawsuit. In the middle of that lawsuit, we find out that most of the counties in the state are also in violation, and we had a injunction, a request for stopping the certification, and we didn't get that through in time due to just delays. So we're going to be continuing with that, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But basically, what we're up to now is we have a deadline on this election. We have a 5-day deadline for challenging the election itself. And as a voter, you have a right to challenge the election if you see egregious violations like this. I happen to have been the one who challenged this violation here in San Diego, which was against the law, and we're in a lawsuit about that. So that's number one. And there's many other things that we've heard about during this last election season, all across the map, making it difficult for voters to vote, making it hard to count the votes, making a lot of them get thrown out due to address problems. And we still don't know exactly how bad these problems are, but it looks like, all added up, it could swing the election the other way. If this election was conducted properly, we think that maybe Bernie Sanders would have won the presidential primary here in California. Now, we're not a partisan organization. We're not rooting for Bernie Sanders particularly, even though many of the people maybe have that in their mind. That's not the agenda. What we're trying to do is clean up the election process, and it wouldn't matter really who was running. We'd probably be here today even if it was two Republicans fighting it out and we saw the same kind of malarkey going on. Today we filed a contest to the election, and this contest is something that any voter can file. And what we did here was file this 6-page document which details at a high level what these issues are. And what that does is start the clock of about a month where we have to go through and get this process. It's a very quick process. And I am the voter in San Diego. But we also are going to be either have filed or will be filing this in 5 other counties. And that is, in addition to San Diego, we have LA, Riverside, Orange County, Imperial County, San Bernardino County, and what did I miss? Anyway, there are 6 counties, pretty much all Southern California. Which one?
Riverside.
Oh, Riverside? Okay. So all 6 counties in the Southern California, which is more than 50% of the vote in California. The reason we're not doing them all right now is because it's just too much work for us. We don't have enough staff and money to actually implement all of the districts. There's 58 counties, so we're choosing the top dirty half dozen. And then we will be going on to the Secretary of State Alex Padilla and challenge the election statewide as soon as he actually certifies it. So without me going into much detail at this time, I'd like to introduce an attorney who is one of the attorneys who is carrying the ball on this for me on this contesting project. And I'd like to introduce now Dwana Simone Bain. Come on up. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dwana Bain, and I have been working with Ray Lutz and several other people who may be challenging elections, as Mr. Lutz mentioned, and several other counties in the state of California. The particular lawsuit we are here to talk about this afternoon regards what is happening specifically in San Diego County. But let's not forget, this will be filed. A similar lawsuit will be filed in other counties in California. In this county, however, we are concerned with Michael Vu. So this lawsuit mentions as defendants Michael Vu and Hillary Clinton. Now, just to be clear, Hillary Clinton is only named because she is an indispensable party. We are not after Ms. Clinton specifically. We are after Michael Vu. Our concern is with Michael Vu and the way that this election was conducted. The reason that Hillary Clinton is named is only because she is the defendant as defined by the Elections Code. So the position here is that if all the votes were counted, that were disqualified, not counted, misplaced, or lost, the election could swing to Bernie Sanders. We don't know that, and that is exactly what we are trying to find out. But there is information and belief that that could be the case. Right now, in particular in San Diego County, there are not a lot of votes separating Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. But there were a lot of ways that Michael Vu disqualified a lot of voters. And I personally am very concerned about what happened in this county. And for those of you who have any information about Michael Vu's history, I think you all should be very concerned too. And this lawsuit alleges that Michael Vu committed misconduct in conducting this election. Specifically, a lot of eligible voters were not able to vote. Their votes were cast aside by being put into provisional ballots and then not counted. We are very concerned specifically with the fact that a number of people who were no party preference voters were not even given an opportunity to vote at all for President of the United States of America. And to the extent that they tried to vote, either their write-in votes were specifically whited out, and we have several witnesses who are willing and able to testify to that fact, or their votes were put into provisional envelopes, and they were later, for some illegal reason, disqualified. One concern in particular that affects a huge number of voters in this county are the students. As I understand it, based on interviewing a number of witnesses, just about every student who lives in a dorm room could have been disqualified. And that is because these students were put into provisional envelopes. I'm not entirely sure why their votes were put into provisional envelopes, but when they put their addresses on those envelopes, because it was summer session, they didn't have a dorm room. Therefore, those votes were disqualified because they were coming up as not registered. These are people who were registered voters who were coming up as not registered when the envelopes were put down. That is against the law. In California, you can be homeless and you can vote. So this is a problem, and this is a problem that potentially affects every single student that lives in a dorm room in San Diego County. That is a lot of votes that were disqualified. We want to find out just how widespread this is. I am also very concerned with the use of whiteout. We have witnesses who have seen presidential ballots whited out. We don't know why. Michael Vu has offered many different excuses. But we have seen this, or the witnesses rather, have seen this in more than one room at the county registrar's office. We want to get to the bottom of that and exactly how many Bernie Sanders votes were whited out. That is what this lawsuit aims to find out in discovery. We also want to find out if and how votes or ballots were shredded. So again, the no party preference voters were disqualified either by provisional ballots or by mail-in ballots that didn't give them the opportunity to vote for President of the United States. Or in this county, they were actually disqualified if they did not use the keywords Democratic crossover ballot. For example, if a no party preference voter walked in and said, "Hi, I'd like a Democratic ballot," apparently some poll workers decided to give them Democratic ballots instead of Democratic crossover ballots. That is not on the voter. That is a way to disqualify those voters. And Michael Vu knew about this. He knew about this happening. He used that as a way, through his poll workers, to disqualify these voters. We want to find out how many people that happened to and how many people were disqualified for that reason. And of course, this 1% tally that Mr. Lutz keeps talking about is a way to monitor this election. It's a way to find out if this election was even conducted in a proper way. What is the validity of any of these votes cast? Well, Michael Vu has been hiding. He has been evading the truth. We want to know the truth. I don't understand why Michael Vu is unwilling to let anybody know when, how, and why various votes were or were not counted and how accurate those votes were. Why is he not allowing people to audit this process? Why is he not letting people conduct this tally the way that it's supposed to be conducted? We don't know. We don't know the answers to that, but we want to know, and we want to know who really won San Diego County and the other counties that are conducting elections the same way. I don't know if Mr. Lutz has anything else to add.
Sure, I'll go ahead and finish up and I'll take over from there.
Well, that's basically it. We are not specifically alleging that Bernie Sanders did win. We are saying Bernie Sanders may have won. We have reason to believe that Bernie Sanders may have won, and we're trying to get to the bottom of this. But we have a lot of reason to believe there was misconduct on the part of Michael Vu and other registrars in the state of California. And there are a lot of votes that were improperly discounted. And those votes belong to students and disabled people and people in the military. And those votes need to be counted. Let's find out where they are.
Thank you. Good job.